Thank you, everybody, for coming. So let me start off by wishing all of you and all the Jaguars fans a Happy New Year. And I do happen to believe it's going to be a Happy New Year in Jacksonville, in a large part due to the man I'm about to introduce. I do want to take this opportunity to thank Mike Mularkey, who, as you know, will not be returning as our head coach. This season was a major disappointment for all of us, but Mike gave the Jaguars and the community everything he had, and I'm absolutely deeply grateful for that. I think his efforts were second to none, and I know he'll be back in the NFL soon. I wish Mike and his family well in the future. Now for the highlight of the afternoon. I spent considerable effort identifying absolutely the top football talent, front office talent. And I can share with you the person who can help bring championships to Jacksonville. David Caldwell was on the top of my list. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely proud and delighted to introduce the new general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars, David Caldwell. David?
This has obviously been quite a ride. The last 10 days are very surreal and very overwhelming, but it kicked off last Monday with Shad, and I was sitting in Atlanta, and Thomas Dimitroff came to me and said, "Are you ready to interview? I think you're going to have an opportunity with the Jacksonville Jaguars." And at the time, I was working on an evaluation, post-game evaluation for Arthur Blank. And I said, "Yeah, I'll be ready. Just let me know when." And he's like, "Shad will be here at 4." So I'm like, "Today?" And he's like, "Yeah." So that was, I appreciate Shad's urgency and his decisiveness to come to Atlanta. And since then, we were able to meet again on Wednesday. He brought me down. And through that process, Shad was able to make me go pursue other opportunities. He knew I had potential opportunities, and he encouraged me to pursue those opportunities and to come back to Jacksonville, where he thought was the ultimate place for me, and he was right. Since then, I came back on Monday, and I had another opportunity to pursue, and he encouraged me to go to make sure this is where I wanted to be, and this is where I want to be. I know we can be successful here. Today was obviously a difficult day. We kicked it off with Mike, and we had a difficult conversation with Mike. I appreciate Mike's efforts here to last year. I've had a personal relationship over the last 5 years with Mike. I know he will do well, and he will do great in the future. The biggest thing for us here in Jacksonville, and what we're looking for, is we're looking for positive, passionate people and players. We have a great opportunity and a great obligation here to be the first to bring a Super Bowl championship to Jacksonville, to be the first general manager to help Shad to bring a Super Bowl championship to Jacksonville, to be the first head coach, to be the first set of players to bring a Super Bowl championship to Jacksonville. I believe we can do this, and I promise moving forward we will do this, and we will get better day by day and give the Jacksonville fans everything they deserve, and that is the best.
Explain, besides the record, why you decided a fresh start was needed.
Well, Vito, there are a number of things. I think if you look at the team over the last several years, the team has really gotten worse over the last 3 years. 8-8, 5-11, and now 2-14. So a year ago when I came here, the organizational judgment or really opinion of itself was that, you know, we were a pretty good team, just a few players in a draft away from really competing for a playoff spot. And as the year progressed, it was pretty obvious that, you know, that was not the case, and we would need really a fresh start and rebuild from the ground up.
Gene Smith, he rose through the ranks in this organization from the scouting program. You're doing the same thing. What makes you different than what the Jaguars have already had?
You know, it's funny. I've learned a lot about Shad's automobile industry here, and I know one thing: out of the thousands of parts he makes, he doesn't make rearview mirrors. So we're not looking in the past, and we'd like to look forward
When you look at a head coach, how important is previous head coaching experience, or are you just looking for somebody that's been part of a winning program as an assistant?
Good question. It's not a prerequisite. You know, you guys are all familiar with Mike Smith, who's our current head coach in Atlanta. Did not have head coaching experience and is the all-time leading winner in Atlanta. So I'm looking for the right person, and obviously he has to have certain qualifications. But in terms of previous head coaching experience, not necessary.
For both you and Dave, for the critics and fans who say, hey, star players were hurt, the QB situation was a mess, and even his own GM said the roster was talent deficient, Mike Mularkey didn't get a fair shot. What's your response to that?
Well, Mike is a great coach, and I think you know, he'll have great success. But you know, our record was still 2-14, and you know, regrettably, this is a league that you know, demands winning, and what we have to do is win, obviously. So,
for 15 years, you had Manning and Matt Ryan. What do you plan to do about the quarterback situation? And have you and Shad discussed Tim Tebow?
We plan to address the quarterback situation, obviously. You know, Blaine is the second youngest quarterback in the NFL. But we're going to have open competition. We'll bring in, you know, whether it's through draft or through free agency, we'll bring in some more people to compete at the quarterback position. I know we have Chad here still for another year. So it's going to be an open competition there, and we're going to let the best player win that position. As far as Tim goes, he is a member of the New York Jets, so I can't imagine a scenario where he would be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Say that again?
I can't imagine a scenario where he'd be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Are you a little surprised that this has happened so quickly?
I'm very humbled, to be honest with you. And through this whole process, it's been a very humbling experience. And like I said in the beginning of the press conference, there's a lot of people that have vested interest in me getting here. And I've been very fortunate to have tremendous opportunities to work for great people. And that's probably the thing I take most pride in.